Buccaneers beat the Saints in the Dome yesterday, 20-10. Let's talk about the ruckus first before we talk about the other things in the game. Mario, you were calling the game in Spanish yesterday in the Superdome, so you had a perfect view of this. Could you describe the ruckus?
Muy tenso, really tense. It definitely changed kind of the outlook of the game from there on out. You knew it was going to go one way or the other. I feel like for the Saints, it was going to start going really well, or it was going to start going really poorly, and it obviously started going really poorly. But that's something that the NFL has not concluded what it's going to do yet as in terms of discipline, and that's something that's not going to go away in the next couple of days. That will continue to be talked about.
They're gonna need to move on this today. I think multiple reports. The league office has got this. Okay, this was not one that was going to escape their attention. This was going to be front and center yesterday, and this is not a matter of if you're going to see a suspension. It's going to be how long. And how many suspensions are you going to have? Mike Evans has to be suspended. And because this is his second offense in the same building, in the same scenario, where he goes from near the sideline, and this is the part where I'm asking you for your vantage point, Mary, because you were in the Superdome. All I could see was what was on television. What I saw on television was Mike Evans get almost to the sideline, very, very close to the sideline, probably within 2 to 3 steps of the sideline, turn around, take a run and start, and cheap shot Marshon Lattimore. Okay? Second time he's done that. Last time it got him a 1-game suspension. This time it's got to be more than that. You can't be a multiple offender with the same guy in the same building with the same offense and give him the same punishment. That doesn't work. It has to be at a minimum doubled. It's got to be a minimum of 2 games. If it's more than that, that's fine. My real fear is that they're going to suspend Lattimore too. And listen, he's jawing at Brady. Brady's jawing at him. This goes on 60 minutes on every NFL football field. It gets a lot more attention now because it's Brady. I get it. And after he threw his little temper tantrum and broke his computer on the sideline. By the way, Gordy told me if I get frustrated with you guys, I'm not allowed to throw this Microsoft Surface. These things are expensive. After the jawing goes on, then you got a little bit of pushing and shoving. At that point, I really thought that it was going to be, like bleep you, no bleep you, a little bit of pushing and shoving, and everybody back to their corners. It's a tie game at this point. I mean, this is one where you really can't afford to lose personnel or field position over this. And what happens? Evans comes in from 20 yards away? 15, 20 yards away, nearly off the sideline. He wasn't completely on the sideline, but he was almost there. And he cheap shots a guy. And this whole melee is because of him. Was Brady mouthing? Yes. Did he start mouthing? Yes. That happens all the time. Was Lattimore yapping back at him? You bet. Happens all the time. Bruce Arians, Cecil B. DeMille over there on the sideline with his hat. I don't know what purpose he serves down there. I know he's got a fancy title, special assistant to the general manager on Thursdays or whatever. What it means is that the Buccaneers are still paying him to play golf. So he's team personnel, so he's allowed to be on the sideline. What part did he play in all of this? I can't make out quite what he's saying. I know he's down there and he is not a disinterested third party. He's right in the middle of it. If Evans doesn't come back from off the sideline where he is and cheap shot an unsuspecting player, a player obviously didn't see him coming because Lattimore doesn't even brace for it. He just gets clobbered. Second time he's done this. We know a little bit about Mike Evans. We know how soft he is. The guy's a tremendous talent. But if you were here in what I'll refer to as the Johnny Manziel game in Tiger Stadium, you saw just how soft Mike Evans is. LSU had a cornerback they named Rashard Robinson. Robinson probably weighed 170 pounds if he has rocks in his pockets and a belt full of wrenches. And Evans had him by, I'm going to say, probably 5 inches and 35 pounds, give or take. Maybe more than that. Robinson ate him alive. I mean, he was so into Evans's head that Evans was a complete non-factor. And the guy's a first-round pick. I mean, you see, he's a big, fast, strong receiver. He is soft. He's a front runner, okay? When everything's going fine, Mike Evans is a wonderful person to have on your team. But you get up in his head, and Lattimore has been living rent-free in his head for 5 years now. And this is how he's responded. He has to be punished. The league office has to step in. I don't think that anything that anybody else on the field did rises to the level of a suspension. Should they have made a few more ejections? You can make that argument. I'd have definitely told Arians to keep his ass on the sideline, shut up. First of all, we can play the game without you. Brady's got to play. Fournette's got to play. Lattimore's got to play. Evans has got to play. You don't need to be here. You're going to be part of the problem. You can carry your ass back up to the press box. So we'll see what the league does. If the league, this is what, if I were on Park Avenue, based on what I saw, this is what I would do. Evans gets a 2-game suspension. Lattimore gets a fine. Probably a few other finable offenses on the field, but the only one that rises to the level of suspension is Mike Evans, and it has to be for more than 1 game. If it's not, then Evans can go on about his business and know that he can go cheap shot anybody he wants in the league, and the suspension is 1 game. So is it worth going to take out somebody's best cornerback or best player on defense for a 1-game suspension? If that's all that they're going to do to him, he might decide that that's plenty good enough. This is not an officials on the field thing, okay? I understand why they threw both of them out of the game. Was it the right move? I don't know that reviewing the whole thing that Lattimore should have got run, but I understand why he was. You got a time crunch there. You got 100 players, 36 coaches, 70,000 fans, and a TV audience going, hurry up. Okay, we'll just err on the side of caution. We're going to run both of you. But the league office has the benefit of time, slow motion video, wide angle shot of this thing. And if they see anything more than what I was able to see on TV, or Mario, what you were able to see in the Superdome, then they can up those penalties that I just talked about. But if all they see is what I was able to see on television, it's still a 2-game suspension. Now, the officials on the field. The Bradley Roby call was terrible. Did somebody call from the league office and say, Tom Brady's upset, go call a stupid penalty on the Saints? No. I'm sorry. My level of paranoia does not reach those levels. I think that it's built into the equation. It should be built into the equation that you're going to have some bad calls. I mean, it's part of life in professional sports, and even more in college sports, because those guys aren't as good as the professional guys. You're going to have certain built-in bad calls. Call it 75 yards a game. Some weeks maybe it's 50, some weeks maybe it's 100, who knows. But that's built into it. It's a really bad call on Bradley Roby. So what do I do? I sit here and I scream at the raindrops. The officials are bad. Who cares? Okay? Officials are going to be bad next week. Going to be bad the week after that. They're going to be bad for 16 weeks. Or not. Bad's the wrong word. They're going to miss calls. These guys get a lot more right than they get wrong. I don't want to talk anymore about the officiating. I do want to talk about Jameis Winston. Because Winston yesterday looked like a guy playing with broken bones in his back. Because he was a guy playing with broken bones in his back. We found this out in the pregame. I'm driving to a friend's house to watch the game. I get this text like, by the way, Jameis Winston's got this is the exact tweet. It's like, Jameis Winston's got a broken back. What? I left my house 15 minutes ago. What did I miss? He's got 4 broken. I said, so he's out for the year? His career ending? No. He's going to play. Really? I mean, in my truck, driving across Baton Rouge, I get the text. Jameis Winston's got a broken back, but he's going to play anyway. Oh, okay. Let's see how this goes. Spoiler alert, not well. What bothered me the most about Winston was that there were throws there that he should be able to make 90% of the time. They weren't quite the falling out of bed throws, but they were throws that professional quarterbacks have to make. These weren't decision problems. There was a few bad decisions, and there were at least 3 occasions that I could count where Winston had enough room to run for the first down and clearly couldn't move. My guess is that the errant throws, because when he is protected and he has an open receiver, he's got a really good chance to hit him. When he's not harassed, when he's not throwing into coverage, if there's a receiver running open, Winston will usually hit him. So, he's pretty good at that. Where he fails is when he makes bad decisions and throws into coverages, or, doesn't just take a sack and forces a ball somewhere where he shouldn't. But open receivers, yes, he can usually hit. Yesterday he couldn't. Is it because of the back? I don't know. But they turned the ball over 5 times yesterday. And that essentially was the ball game. Did the Roby penalty hurt? Yes. Was the ruckus, the center of everything from the fourth quarter on? Did he get chippy? These two teams don't like each other. Yes. But at the end of the day, the Saints lost the game because they turned the ball over 5 times. Winston threw 3 interceptions. Ingram fumbled a ball down deep in Buccaneer territory. Olave fumbled at the end when they were trying to have a miracle comeback. That's by far the bigger concern for me, is because if Jameis Winston can't make routine throws, and he can't run at all, then that's a problem.